Don't take it lightly. Okay, get around. Anyway. My name is Caroline Madodo, and I'm from Image Magic. Image Magic Corporate is a wholly Zimbabwe-owned company that has been growing strong from the early 90s. We are leading Zimbabwe's leading total solutions promotional products provider. Okay. We are also in Zambia and we are also in Malawi. Image Magic is an authorized distributor of Amrod products. Many may be wondering what Amrod is, what's going on, but I hope the guys are ready. Let's do this very quick. Please, if you can play the video.
On the continent of Africa, nestled between highways and industry, in the heart of South Africa's most powerful economic region, lies Amrod, the continent's premier trade-only, total solution promotional products provider. Founded in the year 2000 by Amit Brill, Craig Friedman, and Nimrod Barlev, Amrod has grown into a thriving world of excellence, where customer satisfaction, vast product choice, technological advancement, and personalized service are the order of the day. From humble beginnings, Amrod now leverages the expertise and talent of over 1,000 employees, brands over 300,000 items daily, offers more than 16,000 SKUs, and holds in excess of 400 million rands worth of stock at cost. Amrod's primary goal is to provide clients with a one-stop convenience-based platform focused on making business simple and cost-effective. Combined with extensive gifting, clothing, and headwear ranges, Amrod's unrivaled in-house branding solutions provide promotional product resellers with a total solution that lets them concentrate on what they do best: sell. On the cutting edge of product development, Amrod's collections are displayed in industry-best catalogs and marketed in a dynamic and user-friendly way, offering an unmatched selection of 1,400 logo-ready promotional gifts, ranging from budget-friendly giveaways to the latest mobile tech. Amrod's popular styles and global brands provide the perfect platform for any marketing campaign, no matter the occasion. With a spotlight on affordability, quality, and design, Amrod's well-balanced and sought-after clothing and headwear collections are positioned under 6 distinct, internationally recognized brands. Featuring a host of colors, fits, and sizes, Amrod's substantial range, divided amongst 9 categories, offers clients a wide variety of on-trend options for their corporate and promotional clothing needs. Amrod mirrored international best practice by pioneering in-house branding in South Africa in 2007. A decade later, Amrod proudly boasts a dedicated branding army of over 600 skilled operators that treat their clients' brands as if they were their own. Their unparalleled branding know-how ensures fast, consistent, reliable delivery, and their 18 specialized processes provide clients with a wealth of branding choice. Amrod's innovative in-house branding processes elevate black products from great to extraordinary. Amrod's technology-centric approach in an ever-increasing digital landscape ensures that customers are equipped with a host of online tools, including the industry's premier website. With features such as live stock check, online ordering, and artwork approvals, Amrod's unmatched suite of e-services enable customers to run their businesses when and how they want, rather than within the confines of a traditional 8 to 5 working day. In September 2016, the company announced the sale of a majority share to the Carlyle Group, a leading global alternative asset manager with a footprint in North and South America, Europe, the Middle East, Asia, Australia, and Africa. Amrod strongly believes that partnering with an internationally renowned company of Carlisle's stature will take its already successful business to even greater heights. In January 2017, Amrod consolidated their 3 Johannesburg-based buildings into a landmark 38,000 square meter head office. The new facility was designed from the ground up to fit in with the company's vision of creating a world-class environment for its customers and staff. With a focus on greater capacity, improved efficiency, and an enhanced total solution, Amrod's head office boasts a sophisticated and client-friendly showroom designed to assist resellers close deals. A best-of-breed warehouse management system implemented to improve inventory accuracy and streamline operations. A state-of-the-art conveyor system which moves stock to the correct branding department quickly and efficiently. One of the largest branding facilities in the world, measuring 10,000 square meters, and a streamlined collections area where getting the orders out of the warehouse and into clients' cars as quickly and efficiently as possible is the highest priority. In tandem with their purpose-built central head office, an increasing African footprint, which includes branches in Bloemfontein, Cape Town, Durban, Port Elizabeth, Botswana, Namibia and Kenya, makes it more convenient than ever for clients to position Amrod as their warehouse, branding facility, artwork studio and delivery engine. This is your invitation to the world of Amrod, where a quest for consistent innovation and a continued culture of service excellence ensures partnering with Africa's leading trade-only total solution promotional products provider is the obvious choice.
Thank you so much for watching. We believe that Image Magic, you guys are the most important people that make our business grow bigger and better. Most of you are on board already. For those that are not yet on board, we're coming for you. And I hope this is a platform that has given you an insight on what we do. We didn't come alone this year. We've brought with us our second arm, Togo Marketing. They will be presenting much later, maybe tomorrow. We are growing, and thank you so much for the support.
Okay, we want to thank you, Image Magic, in partnership with Amrod, for partnering with us to make sure that this conference becomes a success. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we have paid our dues. I'm happy. I wish to invite our moderator for the next session. Our moderator is an outgoing board member of MAZ. She has held the portfolio of the National Treasurer, so all the assets, all the finances of MAZ, they've been in her custody. So, and each time I talk to her, she says, I'm so excited because I'm leaving the association on a positive note. She has worked tremendously high. So let's give her a double pam-pam for that, for moderating the state of MAZ. Patricia Mramida from Delta Corporation is our moderator. Thank you. Let's keep clapping hands for her so that she picks the best step.
Thanks very much, Gillian. We've come to a very serious part of the conference, which is the official opening program. And I'm hoping we are going to take critical notes that will move the marketing fraternity forward, especially considering that we've got an important guest who's going to talk to us about government and marketing, how we can work together. May I ask all of us to rise for the national anthem? And I'm hoping our DJ is ready to play the national anthem.
Dear marketers, I would want to introduce a very important guest amongst us. It is a pleasure for me to introduce to you the Deputy Minister of Industry and Commerce, Honorable Raj Modi. He was born on the 4th of February in 1959 in India and moved to Zimbabwe in 1982, where he obtained a Zimbabwean citizenship in 1989. Honorable Raj Modi is a holder of the Honours Degree in Economics. Honorable Modi is a successful businessman who owns an array of supermarkets, including Bellevue Spa in Bulawayo. For us as Delta Corporation, they are one of our key customers in terms of buying the alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverages from us. These companies are involved in corporate social responsibilities, including caring for AIDS orphans as a benefactor of Etangweni Children's Home in Matobo. He has won a number of business awards, including, but not limited to, the Regional Center for Social Responsibility for Best SME Social Responsibility Initiative, awarded in April 2013 for the year 2012. Honorable Raj Modi was a board member of Ingwebu Breweries from 2003 to 2007. General Manager of Zimbabwe Youth Games, Bulawayo Metropolitan Province in 2009 to 2011. And from 2012, he was appointed as a member of the Finance Committee of Bulawayo Publicity Association and the Chief Executive Office of the Sports and Recreation Commission in Matabeleland. Honorable Raj Modi is the Member of Parliament for the Bulawayo South Constituents House of Assembly member. He is married with 3 children and 2 grandsons. Dear marketers, welcome Honorable Raj Modi.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I feel very honored to be here to officiate the conference. In Victoria Falls. President of the Marketers Association of Zimbabwe, Mr. Agrippa, I believe is not yet in. President of CZI, member of the board of the Marketers Association of Zimbabwe here present, the Executive Secretary of Association, Mr. William Rusike, our distinguished guests from across the region, esteemed marketers, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed an honor for me to officiate this 10th Annual Marketers Convention. I want to thank the organizers for this and for the work the association is doing in uplifting the marketers' profession. Your work involvement with my ministry is highly appreciated, as marketers make a difference in the productive sector. Without marketers, business would not be able to effectively reach out to the consumers. Your theme for the convention, innovate, thrive, and consolidate, is very appropriate, and more so for the environment we are operating under. Zimbabwe will not prosper if innovation is not part of and parcel of business operation. The mantra by His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, that Zimbabwe is open for business, cannot be realized if business are not thriving and consolidating operation. By being innovative, we are talking about coming up with new products as well as systems that can assist companies to be more efficient in their production process. As marketers, you play a critical role in this process, and I am happy that on your program there are topics that are key to business and consumers. Remember, sustained innovation is a journey, not a destination. The Marketers Convention is one of the most it is a time for learning, networking, and new marketing change. This year we mark the 10th year marketing association hosting the Marketers Convention. I understand this event has regional and international speakers who are experts in marketers are the key drivers in the communities of the industry crisis through promotion of our products are known to the consumer, known to the consumer through our products. The intelligent data collects from the market assists the producer in coming up with the products at the right quality and price. Hence, advertising is a tool that marketers use to reach out to consumers. They are being responsible. Mr. Niraj Sharma earlier made a presentation on how marketers can use the artificial intelligence and big data analysis to achieve competitive advantage. This is very important, and this will give us the power to achieve the best for our country. I believe that all is in our hands and foresight to accomplish and ensure the boards are in our favor. Let us continue to uplift this profession for the I just want to share that one good news that we have this morning, that local content policy, which means marketing approval will help our SME using local content policy, utilize our local general trend is here, not in Zimbabwe. Everybody thinks that imported goods are it's like in Eastern Europe saying that but we do products in Zimbabwe. We used to do it before. get opportunity for marketers to market our own products. Manufactured by our local people. It will increase our communication and we will have my minister will soon be launching the National Industrial Development Policy 2022. This policy framework drives from the vision and transform Zimbabwe into the middle-income country by 2030. Such vision is premised upon the deliberate decision taken by the government to open the country for the business. The public sector and promote investment with the ultimate overreaching goal of enhancing broad-based economic empowerment, inclusive economic growth and employment creation. It is therefore important that the Marketers Association of Zimbabwe, through the relationship already established with my ministry, will support the marketing of this policy through our training program for public relation officers. I am sure we can achieve the best in terms of professional growth for our other lifestyle. Lastly, I would like to acknowledge and appreciate that had been on Dr. Bima, this immediate past Minister of Industry and Commerce. I am sure my Minister, Honorable N.M. Low, can continue from where he left. We need to partner as we develop our country, and His Excellency the President Idi Managagwa has always emphasized this. Let us network and share information for the growth of the profession. We need to engage each other knowing that marketers make it happen. With these few words, I now declare this convention officially open.
For a very short and precise speech. One thing that I learned from that speech was without marketers, businesses would not be able to reach out to our consumers. So we are very important people in our organizations, and we need to continuously drive this consumer engagement. The other item that I picked, which is very critical for us going forward, I had the Executive Secretary speaking to resolutions and taking note of certain issues that we need to address as we go back to our organizations. The issue of the local content policy, which has been recently approved by the government. I believe this is the way to go. It will lessen the burden of foreign currency on the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe or the banks. If we can promote our local raw materials to produce our own products. And I'll speak from where I'm coming from, Delta. Chibuku, Lagabia. Most of the raw materials are from Zimbabwe. This is why we don't have much of a shortage of those products, because we've contracted local farmers to farm barley, sorghum for us. So there are a lot of opportunities in that area, and if we can sit down as marketers and think through it, I think we will be able to produce very big grants going forward and not talk about grants that existed some 30 to 40 years ago. Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Minister. At this juncture, I'm going to open the very much.
The first question. So the person who asked me the question, if they can share the email ID with me so that we can inform them as soon as and thank you very much for the second question also. Definitely we want to support our local industries, so there's no question about it. We're going to buy from our local companies.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Minister, and we come to an end in terms of this session. I'm not so sure what the time is, but I think the Executive Secretary will advise us what's happening next. I would like to thank every one of you for supporting me as your treasurer for the past 4 years, and I'm happy that I'm leaving this institution in a sound position. I think most of you have seen our audited financial results for 2017, where we had a surplus of over $78,000. And when I looked at our position as of end of September, we were plus $139,000. So your money was in safe hands. Thank you very much.
Indeed, your money was in safe hands. I have testimony to that. Patricia would not just sign for the sake of signing. She would really need to be convinced that it's a worthy cause. Ladies and gentlemen, we once again want to appreciate the Honorable Minister for spending time with us and giving us the keynote speech and opening up of this conference. We wish to move on to our next segment, and for this segment, I wish to call upon the moderator, Mr. Allen Musadziruma. Can we kindly clap hands for him as he comes to the front to introduce to us our next speaker. He deliberately decided to sit right at the back so that you continue clapping for him.
Before she comes, I'll be giving a program. Angela is an engaging communicator, child rights and international development professional, consultant, journalist and life coach. She currently serves as the head regional influencing and strategic communications in the region of Eastern Southern Africa and the Middle East for Plan International. She has proven experience in executive leadership of global advocacy, policy campaigns, communications and partnerships work to significantly improve impact and influence. Presently, she's setting an Africa and Middle East focused policy and advocacy agenda, building on experience and strategic communications lead, delivering high impact campaigns, compelling messages, and smart positioning. Angela has worked with Plan International since 2013 in different roles as the communications manager for Zimbabwe. Recently, she was deployed as the communications and emergency specialist in the Lake Chad Basin, Nigeria, Cameroon, and Niger, South Sudan, and Ethiopia, where she coordinated teams and managed integrated communication projects in emergencies. Angela holds a Master's in Development Studies, a BSc Journalism and Media Studies, Plan Certificate in International Management, as well as certificates in Advanced Citizens Advocacy and an international certificates in life coaching, among other planned academic certificates. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Angela to come and present to us. Over to you, madam.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. Excuse me, I come from the rural areas. All the places that you have had, we're all in the rural areas. And I feel confined if I stand here. Honorable Deputy Minister, CZI President, dignitaries from Mars, fellow speakers, and prestigiously renowned marketers. I've always wanted to be a marketer. Friends tell me I'm not. I've tried to prove that I am, but I'm constantly told I'm not. So let's see how that goes. I'm very humbled to be here today because for a very long time, like I've said, I've always wanted to bridge the gap between communications, reaching audiences, and development. Something that is not so common in Zimbabwe. So you know journalists, right? You know marketers, right? But very few development communicators or communicators for development. And I'm proud that I'm self-taught. Then I finally managed to really equip myself, and I'm one of the few development communicators in Zimbabwe. So for those who are looking for people in the diaspora, Honorable Minister, I also ask for Maputi to follow me where I am. And today I want to just engage you on a very important topic. I was listening to the sponsors, excuse me a bit, I think. Would say we are fast and consistent. We have great and extraordinary reach to communities. You have the wealth of choice. You're efficient, and you're the delivery engine. But my question to all of us today is, are we really reaching out to the vulnerable and most marginalized? Is the work that we are doing really delivering value and emancipating communities from the doldrums of poverty? A constituency I've worked with for the past 13 years, a constituency I have represented and seen marketers come in and out with corporate social responsibility as events. So my presentation today it could critique some of the work that we do. It could appraise some of the work that we do. Please don't feel offended. If you feel offended, I'll give you a few seconds to sip some water and forgive me. Because I'll give a few examples of what from the other side we feel may not necessarily be delivering value. So my topic is making global goals local business. Let's go into a quiz, a short quiz a little bit, and see how everything that has been talked about with the sponsors, you really know where it is impacting. If I can indulge you for a few seconds, how many sustainable development goals do we have? Yes, right at the back.
17.
As you are still standing, which one is the 17th one?
Hello?
Which one is the 17th one? Thank you. You may sit down. Which ones do we know? Just 5. Which ones do we know? Just 5. Yes, sir.
Gender equality.
Gender equality is global goal number? All right, actually global goal number 5. Which one else? Okay. Yes.
Goal number 1 is on to end poverty in its all forms. Then goal number 2 is
Oh.
on. Hello?
Please go on.
Okay. Goal number 2 is on issue of human health, issue of nutrition and food security. Then also
I'm very, very age and gender, but fortunately, because of the other services that my fellow marketers in here are doing, I've been emancipated. And I've sought justice for those that remain. I work in a lot of countries ensuring that the global goals that countries signed up to are really realized. So let's go to the global goals. Hopefully this technology will not jinx me. Right. The Agenda 2030 was promulgated in January 2015. And all member states of the United Nations signed up to this, Honorable Minister, including Zimbabwe. They all committed to solving the biggest challenges that the world is facing. And amongst this is global poverty, protecting our climate, and ensuring that no one is left behind. But as we speak today, millions in Zimbabwe are actually being left behind, with the different marketers in this room representing a lot of organizations. Still, we are not really meeting the needs of the vulnerable. So where does civil society as well as private sector come in? That will be the hallmark of my presentation. I really wish someone would move the slides for me. Right. You see, I told you I come from the rural areas. Ban Ki-moon, the former United Nations General Secretary, invited the private sector to the table on SDGs. And he said, now is the time to mobilize the global business community as never before. The case is clear. You play a pivotal role in ensuring that we reach the most vulnerable. Trillions of dollars in public and private funds are to be directed to SDGs, to create huge opportunities for responsible companies to deliver the solution. Actually, aligning a social purpose with an important commercial opportunity really yields value. And I am a beneficiary of a lot of the work that companies in here are doing. But like I said, where are we missing it? We are missing it because global poverty is perpetuating. There is a lot of noise in the market. Zimbabwe itself could not take all of the 17 goals. It decided to take a few. And I'm happy, Honorable Minister, to tell you that your ministry is actually one of those that the government of Zimbabwe decided to focus on. Our planet is under pressure. We have future demographics that are staggering. Our population increase is at an amazing rate. Unlike Spain, please forbid my language here, who have just appointed a sex minister to ensure that they have more population. Zimbabwe and the rest of Africa has millions of children that a lot of companies sitting here or development opportunities are not reaching out to. Then we have the Internet of Things. With the internet, there is bliss and there is gloom. And then the rise of the city. A lot of rural urban migration coming in the fall. Then the growing wealth gap. As you have rightly said, Honorable Minister, as we move from a fragile state, like others would say, a developing country, like others will say, into a middle-income economy, how will we ensure that the gap between the poor and the rich is minimized? Then we also have problems in energy transitions. So our business landscape is characterized by all these unprecedented and accelerated complex noises that gives us risks as well as opportunities. So SDGs come in as the new North Star. It is a unanimous adoption, which means this turmoil must be tackled urgently and collectively. That is why all governments signed up to it. Others are on board. There is a wave of companies across the world that have come on board, large multinational companies, as well as small ones, who are using their business models to change lives. And a lot of the examples you have in your organizations. There is a clear shift that is taking place. While the task of tackling entrenched social development is there, and it sits in the realm of government, it sits in the realm of civil society, it should also sit in the realm of NGO, in the realm of private sector. And I'm very happy that with the sponsors that presented here, that was clearly shown that there is a footprint that they are making. So business have a moral obligation to engage with the SDGs. That is your social license to operate. That is what gives you credence, credibility, and legitimacy to reach to the people that you sell products to. There is a new revenue model, and this new revenue model is what we all have called the shared value mantra. So let me engage you a little bit on the CSR. I called it a shallow dive because I'm not a marketer. Until the turn of the millennium, a lot of the CSR work that we have been doing have been voluntary. A little bit of events, a little bit of, with principles of charity and stewardship. We have really adhered to principles. But does CSR engagement equal corporate contribution to sustainable development? Are we really making a mark? Are current corporate practices that we do really addressing system-wide sustainable challenges, such as ecosystem degradation? Thank you, Nyaradzo, you've addressed us nicely, and we know you're planting a lot of trees across the country. That is addressing ecosystem degradation. But where do we draw the line between profiling ourselves, branding ourselves, and really meeting the social need? So CSR many times still focuses on what companies do. A lot of what I was hearing is what companies do, rather than what they achieve in terms of sustainable development. While the number of business pledges for SDGs are high, a lot of case studies that are out there, they actually show that a lot has been PR-friendly business strategies that help companies shine in a brighter light, get media attention, and are not really part of the change agenda that the vulnerable communities are looking for. But this statement doesn't apply to Zimbabwean marketers sitting in here. It applies somewhere else, isn't it? Right? So there have been gaps in the CSR activities that we have been doing. We do them company by company. MAZ brings us here and we work together. I'm yet to find more than 2 real CSR activities that you do together as marketers. Thank you, Maz, for the shoe collection campaign, a lot of those are what we are looking for. So there's been a lot of lack of scale because we are doing this individually, which is good because we are sticking to our business models. The significant impact, in most spaces, is not seen. Then sometimes the failed promise of a business case. So we wait until December to go to an orphanage and give a few foodstuffs. And sometimes we clamor to one orphanage, each one of us wanting to come after the other to give foodstuffs. Oh, well, this doesn't apply to marketers sitting in here. And then there is also lack of transparency and accountability of the CSR work that we are doing. Do we sit down after the end of the financial year and really calculate not the digits, not the numbers, not the trips, but the change that has happened to the people that you reach out to? Mr. Rusike, do you go back and find out if those children you've given shoes are in school? Do we find out if the girls that we are collecting sanitary pads are really wearing them, especially if they don't have underwear? How do we account for the change? Or we give them a package of sanitary pads once in a month, but they've got 12 months to go. So is that really yielding value? So yeah, you tell me, no, it's a daunting task. You know, we are marketers. Sometimes we have a lot of work to do. We can't measure it, you know. We have got a lot of things to look out for. We are reaching out to different places. The brand is the most important thing. Maybe the goals that you want to focus on, or that you can say as Nyaradzo, I will focus on this. And please be my accountability partners and measure the progress that I have done. So internal discussions in here as well as in your organizations. And then do a mapping of really understanding how does your value chain of business ensure that we are reaching out to the most vulnerable and not doing harm. Then slowly start driving change within the organization. And if there are leaders in this room, heads of firms and companies, we call upon you to have that leadership oversight. Because my fellow colleagues here will bring these ideas to us. Can we pin a budget to real impact activities, dubbed CSR, that will bring about change in the vulnerable? Let's talk a little bit about roles and responsibilities. So the role of business is more than creating jobs and paying taxes and developing technology. Technology is good. Innovation is very good. It is about also determining the nature and purpose of business in a world where economic growth has delivered wealth alongside inequality. So as much as we are going to have innovation, Honorable Minister, it is going to leave a lot of people behind. In a marketplace, in a village of internet connectivity, some people are not invited. I hope you understand. They are not invited. They are remotely spaced and they cannot access. So let's prioritize an understanding of impact. Let's align our core business. Find a few of the colleagues here who you should reach out to. The first one you should reach out to is Mr. Jabangwe. Actually, colleagues, he sits as your representative in the steering committee of government representing private sector in implementing SDGs. So he's your peer in ensuring this comes to fruition. I have one good example of how we prioritize an understanding of impact. Is there anyone from Coca-Cola? Of course, there is Delta. I'm going to blow your horn a little bit. So as you achieve economic development from the environment, as well as recycling, but they go further than that. This is where I want you to see where Sustainable Development Goals come in. They've only come in to do goal number 6, if I'm not mistaken, wash, water and sanitation. But beyond that, they are building sustainable communities. They are catalyzing investment in water access. They They are improving water sanitation. They are improving children's access to water. They are empowering women through water access as well as into entrepreneurship. So just one model and a lot of interventions with multiplier effects. What does your CSR do to the global goals? When you leave the food for the children, yes, it helps them have food security for the few days, for the few months. What about the other times? So that was one. The second one, which I'm passionate about, now it's not me. It's definitely this guy. Okay, the second one I'm very passionate about is about gender sustainability, gender equity. When we really hear about gender equity, a lot of us think of blue. Unfortunately, I wanted to use a pad, but there were no sanitary pads in the toilet. There was no bin in the toilet to facilitate that process, which every woman in this room goes through. How do we expect women, marketers, business bankers, professional insurance brokers that we work with to be able to feel comfortable when simple things like that are not in our offices? That is an indicator of gender equity and gender equality when we talk about sustainable development goals. How many of our female colleagues here are able to sufficiently make a decision? Whatever you're going to learn from here, are you able to go back to your organization and say, oh, we learned about this, I want to contribute this? If we are not able to do that, we are also victims of not ensuring that gender equality happens. So whenever equality is talked about, there stands a girl and a woman who performs 66% of the work. And marketers, we do that. We run around like headless chickens. We are always making sure that everything is glitz and glamour. The women produce 50% of the food, but we earn 10% of the income. Sometimes our contributions are not yet, even in our households. What are we doing in our private organizations, in the private sector, to ensure that even gender equality starts in our firms? You can start to change that now. The final example that I want to give, unfortunately, I could have given the Econet example, Melanie, but let me give Safaricom so that I net one and tell one will not give me services. So there is a top-down, bottom-up approach to sustainability that Safaricom is using. And the first thing that they do, like I mentioned earlier, they engage all layers of the company in parallel. They start the conversation from a perspective of business. Where in First Mutual, in Askiland, is Askiland here, as we go and pull the banners, the billboards up, what sustainability actions or demands are there? What are the works that we are doing resulting in? So engage your layers, the different layers across the value chain. Then discuss business objectives and improve areas first. And then discuss and agree together on how the SDGs could enhance performance and help overcome challenges. So if you only do it at a CSR, with a CSR idea, you will not get the buy-in. But look at the full value chain and start to ask questions. How does this raise girls more than boys? How does it reach out to men more than women? How does it reach out to the disabled more than those that are not disabled? Sustainability. How does it degrade biodiversity? Then explore untapped business opportunities. That is the innovation part. But give freedom within a framework. Encourage the teams to articulate the SDGs in a way that makes sense to business. So I'm not saying take it as a whole, as a wholesome, but do that which makes sense to you that you will sit at the end of a financial year and say, we really contributed to change. Then keep a flexible approach and have as many iterations as necessary until the articulation of the relevant SDG is fit for purpose. So I may not know a lot of you in here, but you know your business case. You know your corporate social responsibility activities. Take time to figure out if they are really making the change. And if not, go back to the drawing board and make the change. So, Safaricom did the following across the value chain of sustainable development goals, and I'll just run them through. On goal number 9, which is industry, innovation and infrastructure, Honorable Minister, they said we will deliver connectivity and innovative products and services. On goal number 10, which is reducing inequalities, they say that we will produce unmatched solutions to meet the key needs of Kenyans to enable success, so to enable access, so that cuts inequality. On partnerships for the cause, they say through our technologies, we will partner, through our technologies, we will enhance partnership. And these were their underexploited opportunities: good health and well-being, quality education, affordable and clean energy. And their mantra is excellence in operations. You can read through the last ones. I'm happy to inform you that Econet is doing the same thing. Probably Net1 and Tel1 are doing the same thing because they are all in the technology industry. This is how you can mainstream the sustainable development goals across the value chain of your organization. The last picture that I'm going to show is a good example of the last picture will come after this. So my clarion call then is I want you to join the movement. Every business, regardless of the size, are responsible for change. Our level of ambition and passion can vary, but we have a role to play. But it requires holistic thinking. And the spirit of the SDG framework requires thinking that recognizes the connections and the synergies across the goals. So you can pick one or two, but what are the multiplier effects? The last picture I'm going to show is that one. Change that can be seen, change that can be traced, change that others can testify that really there was something that happened. How many more Chifambas can we reach out to? It may not be here, it can be Johns or Isaacs in the different parts of the world. It can be a disabled girl. We are able to see change, structure it, and be able to follow it through until the end. Who is responsible for this, by the way? I think we need to give them a round of applause. Because there, ladies and gentlemen, is real change. At 14 years old, they saw something should change. When we go to rural areas, we are seeing young girls, young boys fetching water, delaying going to school, walking long distances to school. What are we doing about that? We are seeing pregnant women giving birth in their homesteads, losing their lives, losing their children. What are we doing about it? Thanks to Stanbic, they are working a lot in rural communities, building mothers' waiting shelters. That is going to reduce maternal mortality. Again, what are you doing with CSI? If that can happen, and if Zimra did it, the movement needs you. With that, I want to thank you.
attaining these goals. So I think it's a challenge probably that I will leave to you, to government, and to us corporates to say, how can we collaborate to make sure that what we are doing is impactful? Because like you rightly put it, sometimes it's more like a PR gimmick. We are going towards the end of the year. We want a few pictures for our annual reports, and then we start donating. A corporate goes to a children's home, they donate food, and the next corporate does the same thing, but the poor children's home will still accept because they can't say no. But I think the root cause of that is a lack of information, a lack of collaboration and coordination between all the interested parties, individuals, families, the community, the government, the corporates, and the developmental sector. So I think there's need for us to be able to do something on that so that we can be able to make the impact that, because they are saying let's join the movement, but we are not really aware of the movement. So there's a lot of work that is needed there.
Thank you very much. That was Joy Gombera from CPZ Holdings. Can we have the second question from the back? Please introduce your name and your brand that you are representing. We are online, ladies and gentlemen. The hashtag for the convention is Marketers Convention 18. Marketers Convention 18. You can go on Twitter, you can share. Quite a number of people are logged online. We also want the app is coming from this side. Okay, can we have our second question?
Thank you very much. My name is Marianne Kudini from Nedbank, Zimbabwe. Thank you for that insightful presentation. I think for me, I would like to concur with Joel. A lot of the times, a lot of institutions are not run formally, which makes it very difficult for corporates to rally behind them or to try and sponsor these initiatives without a track record of proper formal structures in place. It is very difficult at times to reach out to those rural areas. We would need that awareness if there are institutional organizations that are representing these rural organizations or needs that are beyond, our reach. And I think I was going to echo basically, Joel pretty much took the words out of my mouth, that we really need that awareness. We have no idea. And a lot of the times corporates go to those institutions that are more prominent or more visible because they do come knocking on the doors and they always constantly bring their needs to the fore. So we really urge that to be taken really seriously, and I'm sure corporates represented here will rally behind more organizations and make that impact in our communities. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that contribution. That was Mary Ann from Nedbank, and we have Judith.
Afternoon. Thank you very much for the presentation. My name is Judith from Schweppes. We have also started the sustainability journey, and it has been more of a lifestyle as you do everything across our value chain. My second question is that are there any tools, any online tools or anywhere where we can buy tools that we can use to train or to give our sustainability champions so that they get a clear understanding of maybe the objectives that we'll be trying to do with the business? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Judith. Judith from Schweppes. I'm sure at this time I can leave it to Angela to address the three questions.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Joel. Joel and Marianne, your question is the same. I'm just going to read from the government's framework where information and content is found. There is a steering committee. This is how Sustainable Development Goals, Honorable Minister, are going to be monitored in Zimbabwe. There's a steering committee to provide overall guidance and strategic leadership to the process. The steering committee is chaired by Chief Secretary to the President and Cabinet, and the membership comprises all line ministries, permanent secretaries, the head of UN agencies. This is where you come in. There's a technical committee to spearhead the technical processes as well as provide technical backstopping, and this is chaired by the permanent secretary in the Ministry of Macroeconomic Planning and Investment Promotion. In here is where private sector, civil society, and the Office of the President Cabinet sits. And your representative, forgive me, colleague Jabangwe, is Mr. Jabang in that meeting. Unfortunately, I know these meetings and committees were just set up and they have not been meeting. It's our call to you, Deputy Minister, to ensure that we, even as government, we live to the commitments that we have made. Every year, all countries across the world meet at the high-level political forum to report on these goals. And Zimbabwe has only reported once. We don't know if there is anyone who is really looking into this after the new cabinet was set up, and it will be good to ensure that you go with this message on our behalf, that we want to be part of the civil society and the private sector, but where do we hinge our support, where do we contribute, and how, if so, do we do that? The last question was about reaching out to rural communities. Rural communities, and how do we get this information? I think the best way of reaching out to communities, if you want to go through the NGO sector without promoting my organization, is to go through the National Council of NGOs. We were just speaking when we were coming with Mr. Jabangwe that NGOs have a certain way that we manage. We do project management that we have mastered for years, and that continue to yield value and revenue for us that government has failed to do. Zimbabwe has a lot of good brains that are marketed and are sent to do development work in other countries, yielding value for communities, but we are failing to do it in our own country. So probably government should come and learn from the NGO sector. And we're also inviting the private sector to do the same. So I would really request us to do
But then, like she highlighted, we actually had not been called to the meetings with the held because also the last report seemed to have happened a long time ago, because she had just done the research that on how this is structured and should be there. What we'll be participating in is the Zimbabwe clusters, which is now Captain and which should now be succeeding. So the issue is, I think somewhere the SDGs sort of lost track. So when she gave me the information, I actually asked our secretary at CZI to engage his chief secretary to see how we can start this up. We can start this up and we can, because myself as current president of CZI can then also initiate this to start with. Because what we are missing out on is really, as was requested, perhaps is our member, there is capacity development training that's available if we get these committees right. So certainly, what I've already done is that we're engaging the chief secretary, we ask our CZS secretary to engage the chief secretary, and then once we get to the issue about how we can sustain the seat, either myself or one of the companies that is already involved in this, the past president Charles Muscovos will get him to run with this to make sure that we drive it. But as a country, it seemed we actually let the ball go. These committees were set up and put it somewhere else, but never actually got traction. All right, thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Zimbabwe. You just pass the mic to Barai.
I just wanted to support your last point regarding partnerships. I think that what's really important is that if you decide that you have an SDG that you're going to follow, you need to look for a partner to work with, because as corporates, mostly we don't have the capacity. The wish is there, and we don't want to end up doing CSR whitewashing, as I call it. And what's also critical is that when you partner with someone, because we have a project that we partner with World Education, and in my previous role, we partnered with World Vision Zimbabwe. So what happens is that in your SLA or your contract, you need to actually make sure that the money the bulk of the money doesn't go to the administration, because they have to charge for the service. Yes, they're an NGO, but they have to charge for the administration. So I think it's very clear that, or it's critical that you outline that the bulk of the funds actually go to the project, and in turn they will administer, they will give you the progress reports. They can track if any of the children, assuming it's education, have fallen off the track, and they will also highlight issues like you mentioned that, okay, in our case, a lot of the kids, yes, we gave them uniform fees, blah, 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 but they didn't have stationery and books. So you've got to actually do the complete circle and the ecosystem in terms of whoever it is that you're assisting. And sometimes I think as corporates, there's the pressure that you must support a whole lot of people. I think that if you're going to support 100 children and you support them well, and you do it properly and tick all the boxes, then your impact, I think, is more than saying, okay, I'm going to support 500 children, but all you're doing is paying their fees, but haven't looked at whatever else affects them, including nutrition, all sorts of things, you know, yeah. So the thing really is to partner with someone who's going to give you the results, who's going to monitor, but more importantly, you've got to make sure that the bulk of the money actually goes to the intended recipients.
Okay, that was Farai from FML. Thank you very much for your comment. Ladies and gentlemen, it's almost 1:45, lunchtime. It's been a busy morning. Let me thank all the presenters, all the facilitators, and also the sponsors for these sections. A big thank you to all, and also to you, each and every one of you, for your time, for your attention, and your participation. At this point in time, I'll leave it to Mr. Rusike to give us an update on the way forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alan. Thank you, everybody, for paying attention. Special mention to Angela for challenging marketers here to say, it's not just an issue of giving out things to so-called vulnerable societies, but there are real needs that we need to address, and it takes a concerted effort. We all need to participate. So here's a challenge. Let's go back and revise and review our CSR policy as corporates to make sure that we make that lasting impact upon the vulnerable societies. Let's be conscious, ladies and gentlemen, of the gender sensitive issues in our corporates. I've actually learned a lot from that point of view, because we really need to address those things. Women might not come to the front to say address A, B, C, D, but I'm sure even in us as the male counterparts, it has to be.